Thank you. That was lovely. Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday service. It's good to have you with us, whether you're attending via Zoom, so I will look up and down a little bit, or right here in the sanctuary. It's kind of a treat, isn't it? I'm Ginny Johnson's today's worship associate. I had some technical help from my friend Karen Sparrow and another friend, Paige Small. Today's sermon is by the Reverend Dr. Roger Jones. His title is Embracing the Possibility of Prayer. Also with us today are Reverend Lucy Bunch, our pianist, and I'm going to blow your name, so I'm going to say your first name, Irina, our cellist and church member, Cynthia Davis, and our music director, and I'm also going to blow his last name, Anthony. My excuse is I grew up in white middle America, and my last name was Anderson, and now it's Johnson. Making our service possible today are our technical producers, and they're wonderful, Ivan and Colleen and Dirk. Thank you all for your services and being here. Here in the sanctuary are several dozen members, families, and guests. Why don't you turn around and look at the camera right below the clock and wave so the people in Zoom know you're here and they, I know it doesn't feel quite as personal, but it really works. If you're new, we're glad you're here. If you're attending online, you can get connected to fill out the newcomer card right online. You can find it at our website at uuss.org/newcomers. It's in the chat box now, I understand. We can send you our weekly message email on Fridays and tell you about our programs. You can read about our religious education programs too. For kids in kindergarten through grade 5, our Soul Kids curriculum takes place on Zoom, because those kids don't have vaccinations yet, at 9 o'clock. Before church, our youth groups, both junior high and high school, will start in October. If you are participating in Zoom, please join us for Coffee Hub after the service. In small groups, the Zoom breakout rooms, you'll have 12 minutes to get acquainted. If you're attending in person, our wonderful greeters team will give you a newcomer form after the service. I'm going to say it again now because I'm remembering. Don't forget to turn off or down your cell phones, because frankly, I forget most of the time. I'm the offender. Please join us outside on the patio to get acquainted after service. It's lovely. Our adult enrichment committee and some other groups will have tables out there. We hope you visit our website and see our weekly message to learn all of the ways this congregation lives out our mission. We come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world. Next is Reverend Roger, who will lead us in the chalice lighting. If you have a chalice or candle at home, now's the time to get ready. Thank you.
Good morning. And welcome. It's good to be with you. It's good to see you. Good to be seen. Our chalice lighting words are a responsive reading, and I will read the first line, and then you'll read together the lines that follow, and on the screen they're bold. We kindle this flame, the symbol of our shared search for truth and understanding.
In times of celebration, may its brightness reflect our gratitude.
In times of need, let its warmth renew our connections to one another and the spirit of life.
In times of confusion and uncertainty, may its fire bring us courage and commitment.
In times of change, let its light illuminate our values.
May our values call us forward into better days together.
And now we will sing together from our teal hymnal number 1000, Morning Has Come. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing.
With joy and sing a song of gladness, the light of hope Oh, that makes me so happy, so happy. Thank you for singing with me. And those of you at home, I know you were singing robustly. I could hear you. At this time, we bring our joys and our sorrows, our worries, our grief and gratitude into this beloved community. For those at home, if you'd like to tell each other what is on your hearts, please open up the chat box at the bottom of your screen and type in what it is that you would like to share. Those of you here present are welcome to share among yourselves while we listen to beautiful music offered by Irina. Let us begin. Thanks to everyone who shared their joys and sorrows this morning, and to all the joys and sorrows that we hold in our hearts. We have some joys and sorrows to share this morning that come from our online form. Any of you can submit a joy or a sorrow to this form. Just look for the link in the weekly message, or if you prefer, you can call the office during business hours and leave a message with your joy or sorrow. So here is what to be shared this week. Jerry Hausman asked for good thoughts and prayers for his grandson David, who suffers from PTSD from the civil war in Ethiopia. He's in a step-down unit recovering from an episode of severe stress. Jerry says that some of you will remember him from our UUSS yoga class. Diane Doddridge shares with us that her husband, Don Thomas, is in a board and care facility after 2 months of hospitalization and rehab. He's also on hospice. She asks that we kindly hold him in our hearts and that he is a kind and good man. Our members Celia Buckley and Marion Randall are on a 2-month RV trip through the Southwest. And they submitted on our form that a dear friend traveling with them on the RV caravan tour died unexpectedly on September 14th. Her wife is leaving the tour, but fortunately her brother flew out from Michigan to travel home to California. They are bereft but are carrying on. And finally, we send our love to our member Gretchen Woods, who is at home now recovering from a brain hemorrhage. We pray for her full recovery. Let us send our love and care to all those in need today and all those who are celebrating a joy in their lives. So Roger's going to be preaching on prayer this morning. We thought it would be nice to do our embodied prayer again. We've done this before. I'm not sure I've ever done it in person, though. I think maybe I've only done it on Zoom, but all the memories before COVID have all been erased from my mind, so. So embodied prayer is a wonderful way of connecting with the divine, connecting with the interdependent web, extending yourself, and bringing your body in an intentional way. Yoga can be a form of prayer. The salute to the sun, one of the traditional yoga stances, is a form of prayer. So let's do an embodied prayer today. I'll walk you through it. It's very simple motions, and then we'll do it 3 times together silently. So do it with me here as we demonstrate together, as I demonstrate for you. We begin with a prayer pose, centering ourselves. Take a deep breath. And then we open our arms in front of us, saying, I am here, my heart is open. We extend our arms out to all those in need, all those who we wish to share our love and connection. Wherever in the world or wherever in your life you want to extend good thoughts and love, stretch your hands out. Then we lift our hands up. Do this whatever extent works for you. We lift our hands up, connecting to the mystery, to the wonder, to the interdependent web of which we are all a part. And then we bring all that, all those wishes, all that love, all that connection down into our heart and center ourselves again, feeling gratitude for the gifts of this life. So we'll do it 3 times silently. You can fill in with whatever words you want, or just have nice, pleasant, spacious silence in your mind. Here we go. Amen. Please remain seated and let us sing together Spirit of Life and Fuente de Amor. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Fuente de amor, vien hacia mí. Y al corazón cántale tu compasión. Sopla volar, sube la mar, hasta moldear la justicia de la vida. Arrégame, libérame, fuente amor, ven a mí, ven a mí.
Oh. Got to be careful with the mask and hearing aids. I bet many of you remember the song that starts, "Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz?" I remember Janis Joplin's version the most. That's a prayer, asking the Lord for a car. Now, we've all done that. Maybe it wasn't so crass as a fancy-dancy car, but I know I've certainly asked to get a good grade on a test or to be picked for a particular part in the school play. Lately, it sounds like, "Please give us world peace. Please give us world peace. We need it so desperately." Or, "Can't we be done with these limits? I'm sick of them." Whew. Now, somewhere I learned that prayer has more purposes than just asking for something. I can, and I do use prayer to say thank you. Actually, I do it quite a lot. It sounds like, "Thank you for helping me find that key." Or, "Whew, that was a quick trip home. No red lights, thanks." I grew up in the Catholic Church. My mom was Catholic, but my dad was not. Ecumenical before we knew what that word meant. Because my folks believed in public education, we always went to public schools, but we got to go to catechism on Sunday morning after church. That's like Sunday school, only we called it catechism, who knows. We had to learn lots of answers to questions by memory. And some of those are still way back in the brain. I can come up with them. And we had to learn lots of prayers, too. Memorize prayers. One we memorized was the Our Father. Can you hear my 6-year-old talking? It's really the Lord's Prayer. But when you're 6, it starts with Our Father, so that's its name. The Hail Mary and lots of others. I can even say some of them by memory now. I don't think anyone ever told me that I had to use a formal prayer and use the words that were written, but somehow as a kid I got that impression, so that's what I did. Somewhere, it was a pleasant surprise when somebody told me, somebody in authority clearly, told me that it was all right to use my own words and be very specific. I thought that was pretty slick. I left the Catholic Church when I was in college, as so many of do, and didn't attend church much except maybe for events like weddings or funerals. Much later, when I found Unitarian Universalism, I was introduced to lots of options. One of those options was Buddhist loving-kindness meditation. I remember more than once, my aunt and I would agree that someone needed to be on our prayer list. What she didn't know was while she, who was a minister's wife, would probably pray in a standard way, I was doing loving-kindness meditation for the same person. I would say, "May Uncle George be at peace. May Uncle George's heart remain open. May Uncle George be healed. May Uncle George be a source of healing for all people." And I would say it again and again and again. And it worked. We both felt better, my aunt and I both felt better, and had a connection because we were helping the same person. What a treat. I wondered if prayer did any good other than making the person who was doing the praying feel better. It certainly does that for me. I knew I couldn't do anything to change some stuff, which of course I want to go do. I want to control it. But I could pray, and it did make me feel better. I also read a study in which it was tested to see if prayer made a difference. There were 3 groups of cancer patients. You know how they do it. They make sure they're similar ages and all that kind of stuff. All the groups got the appropriate treatment, but one group just got the treatment. The second group didn't know it while they were getting the treatment, but they had a group of people praying for them specifically. And the third group got the treatment and knew that they had people praying for them specifically. Later, when the groups were evaluated, the third group did significantly, and I don't know what that means right now, sorry, but significantly better, maybe not in terms of their recovery as such, but in their comfort levels. The second group did better than the first group. Now, the second group didn't know about somebody was praying for them, but they did better than the first group. What that tells me is it's more than feeling better when you pray. I'm not hurting anyone, but I may even be helping. That's good enough for me.
Generosity is a spiritual practice. As a congregation, we cultivate this practice by giving away half of our offering donations every service to a community partner that we have voted to share our offering with. Nominations are now open for community partners for the calendar year 2022. And there's no carry forward from groups for year to year, so if you have a particular group that you would like to make sure that the congregation has a chance to vote on, or if you have a new group that you'd like to present, please make sure to get your nomination in by October 20th. You'll find access to the nomination form on our website, and there will also be a link in next week, in the following week's weekly message. For September, our community partner is the Mustard Seed School, a program of Sacramento Loaves and Fishes. This is a free private school for kids and youth in families who are unhoused or at risk. Mustard Seed School provides continuity and community to students as they await a stable public school setting. Our donations will sustain its purpose of providing education and nourishment and individual support and care. As you can see on the slide, whether you're here in person or online, you can set up your phone to contribute by text message, a one-time setup, and then it's just a matter of punching in a few numbers the next time you donate. The number is 855-935-2216. You may also go to our website or mail a check to UUSS here on Sierra Boulevard. If you're in the sanctuary, there's a couple of baskets out, one in the back and one here for you to make your offering. Now, as the offering is given and received, let's enjoy music from Cynthia Davis and Irina Tchantceva. They will play the Ave Maria, set to a famous Latin prayer to the Virgin Mary. This piece is written by Vladimir Vavilov, but it's often attributed to Giulio Caccini. So let's listen. Thank you for your generosity. Now let us sing together our Unison offering response. As soon as it shows up on the slide, there we go. May the spirit of gratitude bless and multiply all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive.
Last month, in her sermon for us about the importance of spiritual practices in traumatic times, our guest minister, Sharon Wiley, urged us to take at least 20 minutes every day during which our minds can settle down through some practice of our own choosing. It's not about finding happiness or even relieving anxiety, she said. The purpose of the practice is to build resilience in our bodies and our minds. Building resilience is a way to help ourselves and our families come through the ongoing traumas of our times. Reverend Sharon recommended some practices to us. Her examples included sitting in silence and noticing your breath, walking, riding, or rolling in your neighborhood, reading sacred texts or poetry, keeping a journal. And she included prayer, whether spoken aloud, contemplated silently, or written in a journal. All of these are by nature not efficient or productive activities. They are not a means to an end, yet all of them can build resilience. In this month of September, our Soul Matters theme is embracing possibility. And today, let's embrace the possibility of prayer. The word prayer means many things to different people. You don't have to hold a traditional God idea or use any particular words to express the longings and hopes of your heart. Along these lines, there is an old joke that says, Unitarian Universalists are the people who pray to whom it may concern. Of course, too many people think a prayer is a formula that you can use to get what you want. Every now and then, a book rises to the top of the bestseller list that prescribes a simple sentence of prayer or a simplistic attitude about prayer in order to bring prosperity, a new job, a nice house, or other good results in your life. In this approach, God or the universe is like an automated teller machine, and the book for sale will show you the secret PIN code. Books by these peddlers of prosperity have been around for generations, and I expect many of them are now selling their gospel on YouTube as well. I really don't like them. I much prefer the spiritual teachers who show humility about what prayer can do and what it cannot do. For example, Nanette Sawyer is a pastor at a Presbyterian church in Chicago. She writes, I regularly pray for things that are unlikely to come about quickly, if at all. I pray for world peace. I pray for just resolutions to major geopolitical situations. I pray for reduced gun violence and for equity and fairness between all people. I pray for an end to fake news and for increased understanding between me and my extended family. I pray that my loved ones will not die. To all that Nanette Sawyer prays for, I say amen. Unitarian Universalism is a religious tradition which has been understood as non-dogmatic, liberal, and open. So we dare not be dogmatic about what prayer must be or whether we pray or not. Our tradition explores many ways of engaging with the mystery of life, the power of nature, and the challenge of being human. And prayer helps many of us do that. Since I have been a minister, I have had people ask me to pray for them or for their loved ones, to say a prayer with them, or to hold their hands while they said a prayer. Whether in our congregation or in some other part of my life, when a person says, will you pray for me? I don't refuse. I don't see it as an unrealistic request. When someone says, please pray for me, this is what it means to me. It means, please remember me. Think of me send me strength. When I say, yes, I will, it doesn't mean that I'm agreeing with all of their theological beliefs or their opinions about anything. I am saying, yes, I hear you. I care about you. I will remember you. I will be thinking about you and sending my hopes for you. I wish you the best, and yes, I'm praying for you. Prayer is a way to bear witness to what is going on. Not to fix it, if that were possible, not to fix it, but to bear witness. Lately, I've been praying for the people of Afghanistan, for the Afghan Americans I know who are here, and for those who are at risk over there, women and girls, journalists, teachers, artists, and activists. I'm asking for safety for them. I'm asking for courage for them. I'm praying to know how I can stretch myself to help them. Then I cast my mind's eye to other places of danger and oppression around the world, and I pray for the people who are there. I can't say what it might change to pray like this, but at least it means that people are not forgotten. Perhaps the only way to hold so much of the heartbreak of our world is to hold it in the gentleness of prayer. The late A. Powell Davies served as minister to All Souls Unitarian Church in Washington, D.C. from 1944 to 1957. Davies wrote and spoke of prayer as the language of the heart. Prayer is a way to connect the mystery of the world beyond us to the mystery that exists inside us. He said that our prayers should be realistic, meaning that they should stay close to life. He wrote, "Under the strain of difficult conditions, or in severe loss or bereavement, or when we are moved or deeply stirred by something of beauty or goodness, there is something within us that cries out for expression. Make our prayers in the language of the heart. Keep our prayers close to life." Whenever I'm co-leading a service where children will be present, like our circle services or especially a child dedication, I will make sure to include a prayer which I will name as a prayer so that the kids hear prayer happening in their UU church. As any UU child grows up, if they find themselves in any other kind of religious setting or community, and if there is a prayer in that setting, I wouldn't want it to be foreign to them. I wouldn't want them to think that we denied them our own forms of prayer as Unitarian Universalists. I want a child who grows up here to know that they can make their own claim to prayer if they wish. And by hearing us pray, I want them to know that we extend love to one another and to those beyond our walls. In our faith tradition, we can have our own perspectives, our own words, and our own practices, including prayer. The joke says that we are the religious people who pray to whom it may concern. Well, why not? I don't want an obsession with certainty about theology to hold me back from speaking the language of my heart. If I were certain that everything would come out all right, I wouldn't feel the need to express my longings and fears and hopes in prayer. I wouldn't need to give thanks for the gift of my life if I thought that the good things in life are guaranteed for me and always available at my command. But they're not, so I give thanks. When I pray to whom it may concern, I remember that I don't have everything under control. I don't have it all figured out. And when I pray, I find it comforting to imagine that the language of my heart is being received, is of interest to the Spirit of life and the source of love. It helps me to imagine that my expressions of care and hope are being received by some power that is greater than myself. I'm not sure my prayers can change anything, but I'm trusting that they can change me. The California writer Anne Lamott is both irreverent and soulful in her essays about spirituality and about prayer in particular. For example, she writes, we can pray, "Hello, is anyone there?" We can pray any expression that comes from the heart. We can do this out loud or quietly in our thoughts. Prayer is not a showy thing, she says, but a private one, an intimate one. And Lamott says that even if we are praying with other people, it is an intimate moment. One of her books offers a basic structure to prayer with only 3 categories to remember, which are contained in the title of the book: help, thanks, wow. My own prayer practice follows this more or less, but I go in the other direction: wow, thanks, and help. When I pray, I settle into a chair and I start with naming some things that could fall under the wow category. And usually for any wow kind of thing I could list, I also speak my thanks. For example, I'm alive on this new day. Thank you. I made it through the night. I can see blue sky when I look up. Wow. Thank you. Yesterday I had a home-cooked meal, and last night I was moved and entertained by a play in person. After 18 months of lockdown, I was finally able to see a play live on a real stage. Wow. And for the past 18 months, I've been able to stay connected to my community by something called Zoom. Wow. Thanks. Many of my prayers fall in the category of help. For myself, I ask for help to be useful for the day, to be true to my values, to have courage when I need it. I pray to not cause harm. I may think about a challenge coming up in the day or a challenging person, and I breathe deeply into the situation, breathing deeply and giving space for myself and the other person. The best part of this category is when my help is blended with my thanks. That happens when I think about the people I care about. For example, I call to mind people from this congregation. I send love, healing, strength. I call to mind close friends of mine and their children. Bless them, I say, and I mean it. Bless them. I call to mind my family members, especially the ones I like a lot. Sometimes I think of those relatives about whom I feel some pain or just don't like very much. Maybe once or twice a month they pop into my mind and I add them to the list and I pray for them. I do it quickly enough so that my resentments about them don't intrude on my prayer time and my goodwill. And I send them blessings. I send blessings to them and I wish them well. It may not change them, but it can't hurt, and it might change me. It might begin to open my heart. Help, thanks, wow. I would like to invite you into a brief exercise with me right now, wherever you are. I will mention one of those 3 categories of prayer, and then I will pause while you think of 1 or 2 things that you would like to lift up in that category. And just tell them to yourself. Just lift them up. And I will say the category, and then I will pause for 3 deep breaths while you think on these categories of help, thanks, wow. First, help. Bring to mind one or two things where you would ask for help, guidance, peace, courage, help. So may it be. Next, thanks. Consider one or two things for which you are thankful. So may it be. And finally, wow. Consider one or two things that you can celebrate or behold with wonder. So may it be. Thank you for doing this with me. Thank you for being here as we do this together. I hope you will consider the possibility of setting aside some time for prayer in your life. Or if you prefer, call it a time of reflection. If it would be helpful, you could think about structuring it by that outline of help, thanks, and wow. Or wow, thanks, and help. Of course, the language of your heart is your language. It should resemble and reflect life as it really is. Extend your thoughts out there, your thoughts of blessing, and know that when you do, you are being blessed in return. Know that you are connecting with others. Know that you are restoring your spirits. So may it be. Blessed be. And amen.
Let's rise in body or spirit and sing together, "Wake Now My Senses."
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now compassion and heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now my conscience, justice thy guide. Join with all people
And now we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I invite you to reach out to us, to one another. I invite you at home on Zoom to reach out to us in a gesture of blessing, of benediction. For those who see God, may God go with you and bless you. For all who embrace life, may life return your affection, and may it sustain you. And for all who seek a right path, may a way be found and the courage to take it step by step, moment by moment, breath by breath. Go in peace. Blessed be. Namaste.